Chris.
Good to see you. Good to see you again. Hi, Kristi.
Jeffrey, good to meet you. Nice to see you again. Kyle.
Kristi, good to see you. Hi.
David.
Thank you. Hi. Kelly, nice to meet you. Just meet you a little in person. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Today we wanted to gather and talk about all of the excellent work that these officers behind us are doing every single day to make America safe again. It's been about 6 months now since President Trump has come into office as President of the United States. And as you know, he has a mandate from the American people to clean up our streets, to help make our communities safer, and has given me the job of focusing on Homeland Security. And how we do that is that we focus on making sure that we're not only securing our border each and every day, knowing who's coming into this country and who should not be coming into our country, but also the illegal criminal aliens that we have on our streets, getting them out. And getting them out before they perpetuate more crimes and create more victims out of our families that live in our communities. Today I wanted to focus on some of the work that's being done here in Florida, specifically in Tampa by these officers behind me. And I wanted to call on all the American people to support our law enforcement officers. What we're seeing across the country is unspeakable as far as the increase in violence against those who are upholding the rule of law. Listen, under President Trump's administration, there is no more winners and losers. There is the rule of law, and the law is applied equally to everybody. Every single individual in this country will be treated fairly, and we will uphold our law because that is what the American people asked for. We have, since President Trump has been in office, arrested over 286,000 illegal aliens. We have also recognized that 70% of those individuals have had criminal charges convicted. They were convicted of them, or they have them pending against them. By far, we have focused overwhelmingly day after day after day on bringing in the worst of the worst and getting them off of our streets. Those are the murderers, the rapists, the pedophiles, those who would perpetuate child pornography. They would traffic drugs and traffic our children and use violence against them. Notably, we have arrested 600 known or suspected terrorists off of our streets. And we've arrested over 2,700 known members of the Tren de Aragua gang and gotten them out of the United States of America. I want to give you a few examples today of the good work that's been done here in Florida and specifically here in Tampa as well. In March, ICE Tampa arrested a 27-year-old Guatemalan illegal alien who has a pending felony charge for cruelty towards a child. We also have, earlier this week, an illegal alien was arrested right here in Tampa for producing, possessing, and distributing child pornography. Listen to that, not just for possessing it, not just for distributing it, but also producing it and committing victims out of our children. On July 7th, HSI, Sarasota, and the Manatee County Sheriff's Office arrested a Mexican national with an outstanding warrant for sexual battery of a victim under the age of 12 years old. HSI Tampa also arrested a 24-year-old citizen of Qatar who has an Interpol red notice against him for child rape in his home country. A 35-year-old Venezuelan illegal alien had been previously arrested in New York City for assault with a weapon. In New York City, of course, they released him. Released him without any consequences, but ICE was able to take him into custody. HSI Tampa arrested him just here in June. We are bringing these individuals to bear for the consequences of the crimes that they have committed. Specifically, those that I addressed today are against our children and shows truly the deranged monsters that they are. This is what President Trump has committed to the American people. What I've committed to the American people as the Secretary of Homeland Security is that we will continue to go after these that would commit crimes and violence against our citizens. We'll get them off of our streets, and we'll do it as fast as possible so that families can sleep safely in their beds at night. We also recognize that child sex crimes are truly the worst crimes perpetuated by the worst and most evil individuals. These depraved monsters are on America's streets today. There are more of them, and they're out in our neighborhoods, and we will find them, and we will bring them to justice. Now, in front of me, you also see a table filled with paraphernalia, with drugs, with guns that were brought in and confiscated by these outstanding officers behind me and many others. We have 25 kilograms of cocaine, several firearms that were seized by our heroic DHS law enforcement officers over the last 2 weeks here in Florida. Yet, thanks to the courage of our ICE and HSI officers, these drugs will never be able to poison our families. They'll never be on the streets of our communities again, and these firearms will never be used to hurt an innocent citizen. They'll never be used to cause a parent to lose a child, or a father to lose a daughter, for a wife or a spouse to lose each other, or for a grandfather to never grow up never knowing their daughter or their granddaughter. Thanks to the courage of all these individuals, we know that the rioters won't win, that the criminal thugs that are out there attacking individuals that are trying to uphold the law are not going to win, and that open border politicians who are trying to defend those evil individuals by obstructing ICE's mission will not be successful. We will be stronger than they are. We will be bolder than they are. We will enforce the law, and we will bring justice to the United States of America. Those individuals that perpetuate these crimes and those who help them and facilitate it, and these elected officials, what they're doing is they're attacking, they're doxing, and they're trying to intimidate our brave law enforcement who put their lives on the line every single day to help keep us safe. ICE officers have faced again a 700% increase in violence against them and their families in the last 6 months. But what I will tell you is we continuously every day continue to see citizens from across this country sign up and want to be an ICE officer. We have people volunteering every day from other agencies to have their backs, to go out on the streets with them and to operate with them. And we are continuing to recruit good men and women of this country who love our freedom, who love our liberty, who want safety on their streets to come join us. We want you to come and help us push back on this evil rhetoric that is happening against law enforcement officers that are just out there trying to do their jobs every day. The men and women of the Department of Homeland Security are not going to quit. President Trump has given us a big job. He's given us a big job to fix what went wrong over the last several years in the United States. We had an invasion over our southern border, and the Biden administration let other countries empty out their worst of the worst into our country. Thousands of terrorists came into this country, thousands of people who are deranged individuals, murderers and rapists and child pedophiles. We have people that have come out of mental institutions that have been roaming our streets and still out there today, but we're determined to bring them in through the work that we do. I'll tell you that we will keep fighting every single day for the average American citizen who just wants to have a chance at the American dream. They just want to raise their kids and let them walk to school, go to church on a Sunday, and to enjoy their community, have a picnic, and not have to worry if there's some violent criminal ready to attack them. And now that the president's reconciliation bill, the big, beautiful bill, has passed, we also have more resources. We're going to come harder and faster, and we're going to take these criminals down with even more strength than we ever have before. We have the funding to put in the training, the resources, the salary, and the support for our law enforcement officers that they've never had before. We will never apologize for protecting our nation's law enforcement. We will continue to arrest these most dangerous criminals, and we are going to continue to thank our law enforcement officers. I would call on all Americans, if you have a law enforcement officer that you know in your life, go thank them today. Go cook their family a meal. Go spend some time with them and tell them how much you support them. As loud as these haters are, we should be louder in our love and our support. Don't be silent. Get out there and do something to have their backs and step up and be one of the few that helps us save our country too. We will take our country back. Now, I will always have their back. They will have the American citizens' back, and you are all doing the Lord's work. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have for me.
Secretary Noem,
Yes.
on the issue of Florida and
Yes.
issue, there's been reports of sort of water intrusion, air condition issues at Alligator Alcatraz, and some issues that have deteriorated conditions there. Is that something your department is aware of? Do you have any thoughts on kind of how that's gone since it's initially been rolled out? I know you were supportive of
Yeah, Alligator Alcatraz is held to the same standards that all federal facilities are, and in most states and in other jurisdictions, federal facilities are upheld to a higher quality of standards than what some state and local jurisdictions have. So any issues that were there have been addressed. It's a fantastic resource for us to be able to utilize in order for a detention facility to repatriate people back home to their home countries. And what I would say that this is Alligator Alcatraz is a state-run facility run on our behalf, but we're incredibly grateful for the partnership that we have with Florida.
Yeah, there have been some questions about Florida applying for the grants or the reimbursements that would come back. Has that happened yet? Or is DHS still?
I haven't heard of any issues with any contracts. I've heard that it's been smooth.
There's reports that Florida hadn't necessarily applied for the reimbursements yet.
Oh, they will. They will. We've got a fantastic partnership here in Florida, and I've been so grateful for the governor and his leadership in this facility. 1,000-bed facility can continue to be expanded. We're looking at other locations as well. We've had several other states that are actually using Alligator Alcatraz as a model for how they can partner with us as well.
What are some of those? Are there other states?
I'm having ongoing conversations with 5 other governors about facilities that they may have. I haven't asked those governors if I can share their names, but announcements will be coming soon. As you all know, we need to double our capacity in detention beds because we need to facilitate getting people out of this country as fast as possible and to sustain our operations. But those governors have been fantastic. I will tell you, they are all Republicans. So I would challenge some Democrats to start taking care of your states, partner with us in a way to make your community safer. What shocks me every day is these sanctuary cities and sanctuary states where they don't mind letting rapers and murderers run their streets. I mean, every day when you look at who we're picking up off these streets, they're perpetuating violence on communities, and I don't understand local law enforcement officers or governors protecting their people or protecting criminals and victimizing their people.
I wanted to ask
Yes.
as well, of the detainees at Alligator Alcatraz,
Mhm.
how many of those are people that have committed violent crimes?
Oh, I can find out that specific detail to you. You heard me reference earlier that those that we have arrested so far since President Trump has been in office, that 70% of them are convicted or have pending charges against them. Many of them as well, beyond that, where they had final removal orders, which put them in that process for that. But we can get you specific details about Alligator Alcatraz if you'd like to. Again, and what I would tell you, it's a state-run facility. It's a first of its kind. It's a new model that we're going to be using going forward. But they have contracts with the federal government through the Department of Homeland Security and ICE that will be held to the same standards as all of our other detention facilities.
I wanted to ask as well,
Sure.
a little bit more about if there are any plans specifically at Alligator Alcatraz in terms of like flooding or hurricanes, that sort of thing, safety measures?
All of the protocols have been in place to sustain any hurricane that would happen to occur to that area of the country, to that part of the state. That planning was put in before it was ever built, and we have those contingency plans laid out. And the federal government and the state government are in full partnership on that. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yeah.
When will we be able to track these individuals on ICE Locator as of right now?
Which individuals did you want to track?
For example, the individuals right behind you.
Uh-huh.
when
Why
will
do you
we-
want to track them?
Well, I want to see, if they ended up in Alligator Alcatraz or they ended up in Chrome. Or
Oh, you're talking about, I thought you were talking about the officers.
I think no.
Oh, okay, good, thank you. Well, you can certainly, we can get you information if you want them. I have a folder here of people that we have picked up that have committed violent crimes against individuals in Florida, but even outside of Florida, that we can share with you. But we can keep their court processes as public as legally due. They're going through the due process right now and will face the consequences for their crimes, and then they will be returned to their home country. To never come back to the United States. But if there's a specific case you're interested in, I'll get that for you.
President Trump has talked about worst of the worst
Mhm.
as being the people who have been the priority targets for immigration enforcement efforts. In places like Florida with such a large migrant community, the people you've highlighted today have crimes like you've mentioned, but what would you say as somebody who works day in, day out with the president to folks who may just be scared, who may not have committed a crime, who may be here legally but are still scared that they could be stopped by ICE or the police or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I would tell them to go home. Go home before you get picked up, before you surround yourself with people who are perpetuating crimes. Don't hang out with gang members, cartel members. Don't be a part of a terrorist organization. If you are a good person, you shouldn't be breaking our laws, and you should self-deport. If they self-deport, we will buy them a plane ticket. We'll give them dollars when they land there. I have gone to 10 different countries and negotiated security agreements with those countries, with their presidents, so that when they land in their country, they may have loans for housing available to them when they land. Their governments will support them with food, education for their children. They will train them for a skill set to fill a job. They have a future in their home country because of what President Trump has tasked me to do. He tasked me to go there and to make sure that when people are here illegally, that they can return back home to their home country and have a future. And then if they want to come back legally, we will absolutely facilitate that. We want people to do things the right way. We just can't allow the law to apply to some people and not to others. So we're hoping that those individuals will self-deport, take advantage of that, and get the opportunity to come back to America if they'd like to again. That is really what we have seen indicated already in the labor statistics that have been we released, is that we have over 1 million illegal aliens that have left the workforce already. That tells me they've left the workforce and gone home because they recognized it was the right thing to do. And then they can apply for our visa programs, they can apply for our work programs that we are now running much more efficiently than the Biden administration, that we are cutting the paperwork on. We're doing a approach that is helping them with the paperwork in a way that's never been done before. If they thought it was too hard to come here and work before illegally, we fixed that. We have fixed it. If you want to go home now, you can come back and we will help you get the visa that you need to come back and to work and to be a part of the American dream.
Secretary Noem, is that, so the idea of folks leaving and coming back legally makes sense, but there have been ICE agents and others at immigration courts and folks presumably trying to go through that legal process, the asylum process, and immigration court.
Well, asylum's completely different though than a work visa. I mean, asylum, you have to be threatened by your government and you have to have a real threat against you. And we are adding integrity back into these programs and how they're utilized. So we're not going to allow somebody to claim asylum that doesn't qualify like Joe Biden did. Joe Biden just let people walk into this country and say, okay, asylum, go be free, and did that for tens of thousands of people who were violent and a part of MS-13 and TDAs. So
Folks showing up at their hearings and doing that process represent people.
not people who have overstayed, who we had to go look for, people who had final removal orders, people that didn't follow the law. I don't know how you explain that to the American people. Say, okay, you have to obey every single law, and when you break the law, there's consequences for it, but then you say, but anybody from any other country, you get to waive that away. That's absolutely insanity. No country does that. There's nobody that actually defends that except for the fake news and a bunch of liberals who actually are turning out to be communists and Marxists. They're not just liberals anymore. If you look at the Democrat Party, they're a party of communists and Marxists and socialists. So I would completely say nobody defends that. No American that I've talked to on the streets across this country will defend allowing illegal aliens to be treated better than American citizens. That's not what our founders intended. They came here to be free and to have liberty and fought for this country. And they fought the biggest military giant in the world that existed with their own personal handguns and muskets that they used to feed their families to give us this country. You think we're just going to let it go away? Absolutely not. I've got kids and grandkids that I'm going to fight every day for to make sure that they get the same chance to grow up with the opportunities that I had the chance to grow up with. Yes, sir.
Back to alligator Alcatraz, we've seen today from Democratic lawmakers here out of the state of Florida talking about being turned away on an unannounced visit, and I understand.
Listen, it's state-run facility, so it's the governor's and the state's position that how they conduct visits. I will tell you, these Democrat legislators before have put us in jeopardy by just showing up unannounced with a bunch of violent protesters trying to break into ICE facilities. So at our federal facilities, we have a protocol in place for when you want to visit. I need to make sure I have enough officers there that I can keep everybody safe when they visit. You don't get to just show up with a bunch of protesters and break down a fence and break into a federal facility. That's never been allowed, and I'm not going to allow it on my watch. Florida at Alligator Alcatraz can make the same decisions if that is what they think is appropriate, but I'll leave that up to them because as far as I'm concerned, the governor and his team have made wise decisions in this area before.
Can I ask
Yeah.
as well about, you mentioned that ICE agents have seen like a 700% increase in violence against them when they're doing their arrests. I would love to hear a little bit more about any numbers you can share there, how that data has been collected, like how many ICE officers have faced that violence.
Oh my goodness, thousands of them have. Thousands of them have. And I will tell you that violence is anything that threatens them and their safety. So it is doxing them, it's videotaping them, where they're at when they're out on operations, encouraging other people to come and to throw things, rocks, bottles, we've seen Molotov cocktails thrown at them. If you watch the video from what happened in California at that marijuana grow facility, that was horrendous. That was horrendous to me. Those individuals that were attacking those officers were trying to kill them. Let me be clear. You don't throw rocks at vehicles like that, and you don't attack them like that unless you are trying to do harm to them physically and to kill them and to take their lives. We went there because we knew specifically from casework we had built for weeks and weeks and weeks that there was children there that could be trafficked, being exploited, that there was individuals there involved in criminal activity, and we found over 100 individuals that were involved in that and unaccompanied children there that we had been looking for. Listen, nobody talks about the fact that President Trump has found over 10,000 children that were missing under the Biden administration. 10,000 children that were just lost because they were put into the system and were being exploited either through sex trafficking or work trafficking or were being victimized. And he has found them and brought their perpetrators to justice. We've had over 400 different sponsors of that federal agency that was run by Joe Biden to exploit these children. 400 different people involved in that have been arrested and brought to justice. Every single person working for this administration to help us uphold the law should sleep good at night with a peace that passes all understanding that you're doing God's work, because those poor children will never have to be victimized again by people who just explain it away and say that that shouldn't happen.
I've seen the 10,000 number. Do you have any sense of specifics of where those 10,000 children are found?
Yep, we can get you that.
Any details surrounding?
I can't give you the children's names,
Well, no,
but I can give you some more statistics that'll help you build out some of the facts and detail around that.
And
But
then on the California front, I believe a federal judge yesterday ruled that some of those raids in not South Florida.
yeah, he's an idiot.
just-
I mean, he's frankly an idiot. We have all the right in the world to go out on the streets and to uphold the law and to do what we're going to do. So none of our operations are going to change. He made claims that were absolutely false. We are building cases. We are going in on doing our operations and planning them against individuals that we know are dangerous, that are violent, that have criminal activity that they've been involved in, and that's how we're building our cases. So he's making up garbage, filing decisions, and we're going to appeal it and we're going to win.
Just to follow up though, before the appeal, you said you're going to continue those operations. Are you
Yeah,
gonna-
our operations will continue.
So
We will be in compliance with all federal judges' orders, but what he said that we couldn't do is go out and target people based on other qualifications that he made up. We're going to continue to do our investigations on criminal activity and uphold the law. All right. Does anybody else? Trish says one more, so okay, I'll let you two ladies go. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And now that the Big Beautiful Bill has passed, are 287G officers in Florida expect to get any sort of funding increases?
Well, we'll look at how those agreements are set up. Each 287G contract is different according to, which law enforcement entity it signed the contract with. So many of them have financial resources. There will be more resources going into the program. I can't speak specifically to one agreement or another, but if you have one that you're curious about, I'll get you the details on it. But we have over 800 different 287G contracts now signed across the country with either local law enforcement, sheriff's office, city, or state entities. That has been fantastic. That helps us build out our support and helps us build out our numbers so that we can conduct these operations and do it in a way that we've got our law enforcement's back to. And you had one.
Will Tampa Bay be seeing any increases anytime soon?
I would think so. The bill gave us incredible resources to come out and to support our law enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security, it's our mission literally is to protect the homeland and to do it with honor and integrity in a way that really serves the American people. So we will continue to look for opportunities to do new things that maybe you haven't seen before that will make sure that we have our security needs addressed.
Secretary, on a slightly different issue, but one important to this state is obviously FEMA.
Yes.
I know there have been talks in the past about sort of doing away with FEMA in the states. In the wake of Texas, as sort of hurricane season approaches, is there any updated conversation about what to do with FEMA, getting rid of it? I know there's a commission out
Yeah.
there sort of studying the
Yeah.
idea, but Texas is obviously a big one, and there have been some issues there. So I just wanted any update on the idea of getting rid of FEMA or where we are.
So I think some of what you saw for our response in Texas is going to be a lot of how President Trump envisions what FEMA would look like into the future. We did things in Texas for response very different than Joe Biden. In fact, we were immediately on the ground. As soon as the flooding hit, we deployed our Coast Guard. We had helicopters and airframe that were deployed and swiftwater rescue teams out of Customs and Border Protection. Our BORTAC teams, which I like to call the Department of Homeland Security's ninjas. I mean, they can do almost anything, and they're specifically trained for situations like that where the unprecedented is happening. And then I went immediately there on the ground and talked to the governor about getting a major disaster declaration signed, and within an hour or two of them requesting it, it was done, decided by the White House, and we pre-deployed dollars right to Texas so that they could make the best decisions responding to their people. Before, FEMA has never done that before. Pre-deployed dollars to a state so that they could use that to save their people, so they could use that to go out and save lives. And that's what President Trump wants. He wants the states to be empowered. Listen, emergencies, and we're in the middle of hurricane season too, so it's important for Florida to know this too. Emergencies are locally executed. They are state managed. The state then manages it. The federal government comes in and supports. You don't ever want to sit back and wait for someone from the federal government to show up and to save you and rescue you out of your house necessarily, because that in the past has not served people well under the Biden administration. With President Trump, we were there immediately, but we will always rely on those local officials and those state officials to help execute and to manage the response, because they're the ones who know their communities best. They know where people are the most vulnerable. I think FEMA will cease to exist the way that it is today. We are fundamentally reforming that agency. President Trump may want to, in his prerogative, as he likes to do, rename things. He may come up with a new name for this agency that reflects the fundamental change that's going to happen there. But this agency will no longer be the bureaucratic agency where people have to wait 20 years for their claim to be paid. It'll be an agency that immediately says to that state and to that local emergency management director, what do you need? How can we support you? And then train them to have the skill set that they need to be serving their people immediately, because they're always there faster. They're right there on the streets. Yes.
If you don't mind, President Trump had posted on Truth Social talking about some of what you had spoken about earlier about the impacts on ICE agents in California. Have you spoken with the president directly about that post, and do you envision ICE agents beginning to enforce his vision when it comes to arresting protesters who may attack ICE agents in the field?
Yeah, he sent it to me. As soon as he was drafting it, he sent it to me. And that's what I love about this guy. He was ticked off and disgusted by what he saw happen to those individuals and to those ICE officers. And he loves them. He loves their families. He cannot believe how some people are treating them and using them as political weapons to try to win the next 6 months of messaging, and he's not going to allow it to happen. So he's a firm believer that people should face consequences when they break the law, and that when those individuals do that to our ICE officers, they should be able to do whatever they need to do to go out and to protect themselves under the law and to make sure that those perpetrators are brought to justice. Okay, last question. Yep.
Going back to Alligator Alcatraz, I wanted to ask if that facility right now hosts more people who committed violent crimes compared to other facilities, and if there are people that have been arrested in other states, if they're being sent to Alligator Alcatraz, sort of for that.
I'll find out for you. How's that sound? That's not a great ending question, but we'll end there. And thank you all for being sure.
Well, there have been reports, calls from folks impacted by Texas flooding. Some of them aren't being necessarily answered by FEMA folks.
Absolutely not true.
So unequivocally, some of the reporting about, I guess it was roughly 2,000 calls that people had trouble getting through, that you're saying that it didn't happen.
Absolutely not true.
Have any of some of those contractors, the reporting indicates, were cut but now brought back in? Is any of that element of
That'll all be evaluated and it'll all be looked at. But I see nothing I've seen nothing from all of my research since that article came out to see that was true at all. So I'm throwing the bullshit flag. I just don't think it's true.
Have contractors been brought back in that had maybe previously been let go at this point?
I will get rid of any contract that doesn't respond to people because they know they were empowered to do it.
And I'm just getting your feedback on reporting. It's been reported that some of those contractors have been let go and perhaps brought back in after some of those alleged issues. Is any of that element?
I'll find out on that specific data point for you. I don't know if any of them were let go and brought back in, but not in the last 2 or 3 days.